As you may have heard, Donald Trump saved us from himself. Yeah, after weeks of moronic, reckless threats and actual tariffs being imposed unilaterally and unprovoked on our probably former allies by this point, he seems to have come to his senses, which, by the way, is not what happened because he has none. I have a theory, though. First of all, Donald, the White House, the regime, yeah, they're all taking a victory lap because the stock market went up a lot today. I mean, we'll talk more about that, and we'll also talk about the fact that, yeah, it went up a lot, but has not erased all of the losses over the last 4 or 5 days. But this was not done to help us. This was done to help them. So I think we need to draw a line here and not allow ourselves to get gaslit, not allow ourselves to be relieved, not allow ourselves to buy into their false narrative at all. Why? Well, one, because the tariffs Donald imposed and doubled down upon and quadrupled down upon were part of his delusion that his way is the only way. He approached trade with our trading partners and his part in impacting the global economy like there was only one way to do things, and it's his way. In a negotiating situation in which things like compromise and diplomacy and statecraft and I don't know sanity were required, some soft power. He just wanted to shove what he wanted down everybody's throats. And his anticipation was that everybody was going to fall on their knees and kiss his feet and do whatever he wanted them to do. That's not what happened. They retaliated, as they should, to protect themselves, to protect their people. And that made him angrier. So he imposed more tariffs. And then, he started a global trade war, risking not just a recession in this country, but a global recession, which would have thrust us into an untenable situation, especially given all of the other instability this asshole is injecting into our relationships with our allies and essentially the Western liberal world order. So, for some reason, even though yesterday his press secretary was calling it fake news that when somebody suggested Donald was going to agree to a 90-day pause on tariffs, he rejected that idea utterly. This morning, he woke up, well, to the extent that he ever sleeps, and he posted, "Great time to buy." Clearly, he was talking about stocks because he had so destroyed the market that stocks were really cheap. All right, I guess a good time to buy unless you're somebody who's lost everything in the meantime, unless you're somebody who doesn't have disposable income because, I don't know, you need to save all of your money to be able to afford food that is now ridiculously expensive. 4 hours later, he decided to put that 90-day pause on tariffs, except for China, which is a separate issue entirely. What happened then? The stock market went through the roof. I lost track of how high the stock market went, but it recovered a lot. It went up, I think, over 10%, over 2,000 points. You can't complain about that, really, because a lot of people were losing a lot of money, and that is wrong. But why? Did Donald suddenly become a savant about trade or macroeconomics or the global economy? No, he's an idiot. However, he does know a thing or two about market manipulation. He knows a thing or two about insider trading. He may have forgotten that this would be a good opportunity, and maybe somebody got in his ear and said, "Hey, everything you're doing is fabulous. These tariffs are working like a charm. But if you want to make a killing, now would be a really good time after you told everybody now is a good time to buy, to make sure all of those really cheap stocks you acquired go through the roof. And you can do that if you call for a 90-day pause on the tariffs. And that's what he did. And he's done it before. He and my grandfather used to do this with some frequency to the point where they almost got investigated. So, yeah, Donald is an idiot. He doesn't really know anything, but he is corrupt and he is crooked and he is greedy and he is acquisitive and he will use any opportunity to make a profit off of other people's misery. Now, you could say, well, wait, no, the market's going back up. That's good, right? Sure. But do we get to erase the last 2 months of his threats and the imposition of tariffs that had real impact on how people made decisions? People panicked. People probably sold things they should have held on to. People made decisions they would not otherwise have made. Businesses made decisions they would not otherwise have made. Prices went up. You have big businesses that most likely have been stocking up on inventory because they were so deeply concerned that because of these tariffs, prices were going to go through the roof. And either it was going to cut into their profits or they were going to pass those prices on to their customers who may not be able to afford them anymore. So now you're going to have businesses that have massive amounts of inventory that they may not be able to sell. And again, the panic, the stress. People probably lost their jobs. People probably sold stocks based on the concern that those stocks would continue to lose value. And we were told, right? We were told, nope, these tariffs are permanent. This is the new world order. This is the new golden age of America. Think about all of the decisions people made based upon this gross manipulation of our economy and people's trust. We cannot give these people any credit for anything good that's happening right now, because to the extent that it's good at all, it's a direct result of their craven, cruel manipulation of people's trust in the government and people's bizarre, unfounded notion that Donald fucking Trump knows anything that he's doing or cares at all about making life better for the American people. It's a lot more to talk about here, so let's dive in. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this evening's episode of Mary Trump Live. Wow, what a day. It was fun, wasn't it? So much fun. You know what I love more than anything? Having to pay attention all day long to Donald. Yep. One of my favorite things ever. What makes it even better than that is when he gives impromptu press conferences. Yeah. Yep. It is quite something to know that there's a human being in the world who is so thirsty, like so desperate for attention, that he will deliberately tank the global economy and then pretend to save it just so he can get camera time. It's exhausting. Anyway, basically, this sudden move, suddenly to become some guy who believes in pausing tariffs, which is not who he was 12 hours ago, it caught his own team off guard, basically. We have U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer basically, I'm so sorry to put it this way, but the guy got pantsed. I mean, he was caught with his pants down in front of Congress during a House committee meeting today, and was totally skewered by Representative Stephen Horsford. I think you're going to enjoy this because I definitely did. Here is Greer and Horsford sparring at today's hearing.
Is this market manipulation?
No.
Why not? If it was a plan, if it was always the plan, how is this not market manipulation?
It's not market manipulation, sir.
Well, then what is it? Because it sure is not a strategy.
We're trying to reset the global trade system.
That's
offshored all of our factories.
And what has that done? How have you achieved any of that? But to enact enormous harm on the American people.
Yes, Representative Horsford, precisely. I mean, but like this guy, Greer, are all of these people lotus eaters? I mean, I swear to God, it's like they have no independent free thought. They just swallow the party line and repeat we're trying to reset the global economy. Like what? How? By destroying it? And again, the point is, all right, let's say that's what you're doing or wanted to do. Let's say that was actually your goal. Look at the havoc you wreaked in the meantime. Look at how many people you hurt. This was not just some minor disruption. This was a softening the ground to get people used to this. Because I'm telling you, it has been happening all along. It was worse and more obvious this time, but it's going to keep happening. Even with Donald's, whether it's insider trading, stock manipulation, whatever it is, it's illegal. That's what it is. Yes, there were gains today. We did recover some of the losses, but our economy is still in very bad shape. Overall, markets are still reeling from last week's quote-unquote Liberation Day tariff shock. The S&P 500 had dropped 12% over 4 days and still remains down 3.8%, with just 40 of 500 stocks posting gains. Year to date, the Dow is down 4.6%. The S&P 500 is off 7.2%, and the NASDAQ has dropped 11.3%. These are not good numbers. Analysts warn the pause offers only temporary relief, and with the tariffs still officially in place, investor uncertainty remains high heading into earnings season. And the increased tariffs on China will further the destruction. According to the New York Times, Omer Sharif of Inflation Insights, a firm that tracks the movements of prices across industries, says that the increase to 125% on Chinese imports largely offsets the lower tariffs on other nations and leads to little change in the near-term inflation outlook. He believes that inflation will pick up even as growth slows in the coming months. Similarly, Diane Swank, who's the chief economist at KPMG, said, quote, "This is nuts. Damage done. Market relief is a head fake. Unless the administration makes a major course correction, uncertainty is its own tax on the economy," unquote. Course correction. I know you guys have heard me use that term before because course correction is what mature human beings do when they recognize they may have miscalculated and may be on the wrong course. They don't want to keep going down that path because that might be bad. So they take stock, they check in, and they realize, well, if I want to get over there and I'm going that way, I need to correct my course because I'm a mature, sane human being. Donald doesn't do that because he's neither mature nor sane. There's nothing that man fears more. Well, he fears humiliation most, but one of the things he most fears is being wrong. And if you want to course correct, you kind of have to admit that you were wrong, and he will never do that, which is why this morning took so many people by surprise when he changed his mind on tariffs. Of course, he'll spin it in a particular way, but I'm telling you, it wasn't about admitting it was wrong. It was about somebody telling him that he could use this moment to make a fortune. Illegally, but whatever. He's Donald. That's cool. And who's going to stop him? Because, of course, what is he going to say if it ever came to this, which it won't? It was an official act. Thanks, John Roberts. Anyway, please, I'd like you to take a second and like the video and subscribe to our channel on YouTube or rate and follow the podcast. Thank you. Okay, so several high ranking IRS officials, including Acting Commissioner Melanie Krause, are planning to resign. Donald and his regime push for the agency to share taxpayer data with ICE to aid deportations. The move violates decades of IRS policy protecting undocumented immigrants' tax information, which could now be used to target individuals with deportation orders. I guess Donald doesn't like people who paid their taxes because he never has. The agreement has stirred deep concern among IRS staff and immigrant advocates, with many fearing it will reduce trust in the IRS. Interesting. And discourage undocumented immigrants from filing taxes, which they do. Critics warn that this could cost the government billions of dollars in lost revenue from undocumented workers.
The acting IRS commissioner is resigning. It comes after the IRS reached a deal with Homeland Security officials to share sensitive taxpayer data with federal immigration authorities. Now, as a result, the Washington Post is reporting acting Commissioner Melanie Krause will accept the agency's offer of deferred resignation. She's the third IRS chief since President Trump took office in January. Her resignation comes just 1 week before the deadline to file your taxes. That's April 15th.
As if this wasn't enough, the IRS has begun a major round of layoffs this week. Starting with the Office of Civil Rights and Compliance, the regime plans to cut nearly a quarter of the IRS's 100,000 person workforce by mid-May. The regime claims that this is aimed at improving efficiency and reducing wasteful binary hiring, but has already raised alarms over potential delays in tax processing during the crucial filing season. The agency has also put 50 IT security staff on administrative leave, deepening concerns about the impact on tax returns and customer service. Now, in what world would reducing the IRS workforce by 10% during peak tax season make any sort of sense? Well, I guess it probably depends on what those people are responsible for, because there are several things going on here. One of the reasons the Biden administration wanted to increase the budget of the IRS and increase the workforce was so that they could dedicate resources to the very time-consuming task of going after rich people and corporations who do not pay enough taxes. That's one thing. The other thing, and I'm sure this is not at all something that the Trump regime cares at all about, is that this will make it harder and it will take longer for people to get their refunds. There are people in this country, there are many millions of people in this country who plan out their years and their budgets based on what they know they are going to get in terms of in the sense of a tax refund. Now all bets are off. So it's twofold. Screw over working people by injecting this uncertainty into whether or not they are going to get their refunds or when they're going to get them, which they need, and making sure, once again, rich people and corporations keep getting away with not paying taxes because there's nobody there to make sure they do. People in the IRS are not the only ones losing their posts. I mean, this is actually good news. I mean, it's still weird, though. Kash Patel has been removed as the acting director of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF, and replaced by U.S. Army Secretary Daniel Driscoll just weeks after assuming the position in an unusual dual appointment. I mean, sadly, I'm sure you're aware, and this is a tragic thing, Kash Patel is director of the FBI, but he was also acting director of ATF. It's almost like, because what's his name? Marco Rubio. He's like part-time Secretary of State too. It's like these people do not take these jobs seriously at all because they can moonlight as something else. So Driscoll will now serve as acting ATF director while retaining his Army post, which means he's also going to have 2 full-time jobs. The Justice Department confirmed the change, but did not provide a specific reason, insisting the decision was not related to Patel's performance, because of course it wasn't. The leadership shakeup comes amid broader Trump regime shifts, including cost-cutting plans that may merge ATF with the Drug Enforcement Agency, which makes no sense to me at all. The move follows a re-emphasis on gun. Yeah, here we go. Gun rights under Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's vile, who launched a new DOJ task force to enforce the Second Amendment because guns in this country do not have enough rights. I mean, listen, if you're a gun and you don't have as many rights as women in this country, that's a shame. And something needs to be done about that. Bondi's the person to do it, of course. Kash Patel, who had barely appeared at ATF headquarters since his swearing in, shocked career staff with his initial appointment. His removal raises concerns about instability at the agency, which, again, is probably part of the point. And it's particularly troubling in this context because this agency is responsible for combating gun-related crimes, which I'm beginning to think are going to be considered unimportant to investigate anymore. Critics warn that the leadership vacuum may weaken public safety efforts and expose the agency to damaging reforms. But again, this is the point. They're not coming in here to revitalize our agencies or to rebuild them to be more efficient. And I mean, in the real sense of the word efficient. They're not interested in making them better able to fulfill their missions. They're interested either in changing the mission of said agencies entirely or just dismantling them. And one way to dismantle an agency is to merge it with another one that technically should be at cross purposes. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries has issued a challenge to Speaker Mike Johnson for a public one-on-one debate on the House floor regarding the Republicans' budget resolution, saying that the American people deserve to know the truth. Yeah, they do. But what's weird about a lot of American people, they really like being lied to. So Jeffries' offered that both sides could, quote, fully and transparently explain and defend our differing budget values to the American people, unquote. Johnson, shockingly, agreed to a debate. And I honestly think that is a function of the fact that he too suffers from the Dunning-Kruger effect. And he thoroughly believes in his he thinks he's a very convincing person, because I don't see how the Republicans can get through this without alerting the American people to their malign purposes here. Johnson's going to try. Again, he's a practice liar, and he'll probably wave a Bible around to fool a lot of people. But they don't have a leg to stand on. So I'm pretty sure that we got this. What would be even better, however, if somehow between now and election day next year, we retook the majority so we don't have to wait for an election to get Hakeem Jeffries in as Speaker of the House. This afternoon, Donald signed executive orders in the Oval Office regarding such important subjects as the commissioning of Mike Huckabee, ambassador to Israel, as well as the deregulation of, sometimes credit, you just have to give credit where credit is due. There are those rare occasions when Donald really does have his fingers on the pulse of what is important to the American people. And I don't mean Mike Huckabee because he's scum. And the idea that he's going to be ambassador to Israel should sort of strike fear into all of us. But no, Donald has been on this beat for a long time. And again, I say credit where credit is due. He is deeply invested in this. And I am so happy that it's finally being taken up with the seriousness it deserves. I am, of course, talking about the deregulation of shower heads and water pressure for household appliances. He also spoke to reporters to congratulate himself on fixing the stock market collapse he created, and, to blame it all on Joe Biden because everybody needs a hobby. Take a look.
This was something certainly we've been talking about for a period of time, and we decided to pull the trigger, and we did it today, and we're happy about it. I didn't know it would have that kind of an impact, but it's, I think we have the biggest increase in the history of the stock market. That's pretty good. That's pretty, you're almost, if you keep going, you're going to be back to where it was 4 weeks ago. But it was a sick market 4 weeks ago, because the trade was sick. It was only a question of time. I don't blame the tariffs. I think the tariffs just sort of magnified what was happening. It was sick. Biden allowed these people to get away with murder.
He also said something in that press conference about the fact that all of this was to blame for the stupid idiots who sat behind that desk. I'm telling you, much of the time he's speaking, he's looking in a mirror. The idea that he was saying 4 weeks ago it was a sick market, but it had nothing to do with tariffs, also laughable. But, you know, expecting anything else from him would suggest that this is a person with any sense of self-awareness or the ability, again, to recognize when he may have made a mistake. And that is not something Donald Trump is capable of. But we are perfectly capable of reminding him every time he makes a mistake. Of course, that is a full-time job, but that's why we're here. All right. It was a long day. So we have an emotional support moment, which I'm excited about. And everybody really deserves it. So spotted, I love this. Spotted off the coast of California, a pod of dolphins jumping out of the water. These are dolphins are majestic. They're also playful, but they're also majestic. This is incredible footage. So just sit back, relax, and watch. I have nothing to add. That made me happy. I hope you guys enjoyed that as well. And I am going to answer your questions now. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Mina Cheryl, thank you as always. Good to have you here at night. Comment, I was almost an hour early. So here's my early fee. You guys, first of all, thank you. Secondly, people are going to start thinking that I'm charging everybody for everything. There are no charges here. I am not Donald. But thank you. I appreciate it. So you hear that? There's an early fee. Hopefully nobody will say that we have a commenting fee. It's going to get completely out of control. All right. Just me, Australia. Thank you as always. Late fee? Really, it's a day earlier here, so take the money and run. Yeah, exactly. Well, now we have an early fee, so you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Thank you. Melissa, thank you very much for that. Comment, Mary, you are part of my therapy. You are amazing and definitely help my anxiety, make me smile. Thank you. You rock. Well, that is extraordinarily kind of you. And I will just leave it at that. But we're extremely glad that you're here. And I'm glad that you find this useful and helpful because we do. That's for sure. I mean, you guys are definitely part of my therapy. So right back at you. Demi, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Comment. Hi, Mary. Love your channel. Donald has replaced tweets with EOs. Yes, he has. He has. And in fact, thank you for everything. You're quite welcome to be able to do this every day. Debbie, thank you very much. That's awesome. Comment. More and more lately, I'm starting to feel what John Paul Sartre was saying in his book, Nausea, that existential dread. I feel this as I'm being killed Oh boy. By 1,000 cuts from all this, it challenges sanity. Yes. Yes. There is definitely, I do not want to undermine your feelings at all. We are living in quite tricky times. And yeah, I've been saying this for a while. I would just like to be bored now. But we have a lot to get through before that's an option. So I get it. There does feel like there is a sense of existential dread hanging over everything. I mean, I'd say maybe don't read Sartre right now. Uh, you know, let's take a break from the existentialist philosophers. Although I do love his work. Not going to be reading The Stranger anytime soon. But also, what I'd say is that, and I can also relate to that. Death by 1,000 cuts feeling, because it does feel like every day, like today, for example, Donald did something outrageous, almost certainly illegal and underhanded and all of the other stuff, and he's going to benefit from it. And that hurts me. But like we cannot open ourselves up to all of this all the time. It takes too much of a toll. And honestly, it's what they want. And we don't want to do what they want. So, which is why I say hang out in places where you feel people are in the same boat, but that also can help bring you out of it too. You don't have to pay attention to every single thing that happens, because that's when we get ourselves in trouble. So, take a break when you need to. We're always going to be here. So I appreciate your honesty about that, but it's very important to us here that people don't get mired in those feelings, because it's just not good for you. And honestly, the only way we're going to get through this is together, and we can't be depleted by them. Like, just think about them and the idea of their having power over us. That should be unacceptable. I know it feels unavoidable sometimes, but we should not take it. Okay. Donna, thank you very much for that. That's awesome. Comment. Good evening, Mary. Thank you for being here for us. Everything's upside down and inside out. You helped keep me from getting whiplash from all the news. You're a voice of reason in a world of chaos. Well, I appreciate that as well. You guys are being way too nice to me tonight. I'm not entirely sure how to handle it. Look, I think it's really important to us here that, one, we help you guys make sense of everything, because there's so much going on. And I think if we just throw it all at you without context, without explanation, yeah, that does get overwhelming. It's kind of like how we all feel every morning when we check the news. It's very hard to make sense of it, but like that's what we want to do for you, but also for ourselves, because then we can start connecting dots. And that's the part that's most important to us, because if we don't do that, then it does feel overwhelming and chaotic. So we really appreciate that you appreciate what we're doing, and it gives us incentive to continue to do it. So thank you. Ashley, thank you so very much for that comment. Thank you for all that you do. You have a talent. Okay. You have a talent for conveying information in such a way that I can simultaneously stress and laugh at the sheer horror of it all. Yeah, stressing and laughing simultaneously at the horror. Is that a bumper sticker or a t-shirt maybe? We'll figure it out. We're going to workshop it. Might have to be a little pithier, but I like it. Yeah, simultaneously stressing and laughing at the horror. That sums it up. That's the Trump regime right there, and that's our antidote to it. More laughter, though. Hopefully. Nubby plays bass. Cool. Comment. I appreciate you, Mary. You're one of my emotional support humans and have helped keep my head on straight during these times. Well, I thank you for that. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, and I'm running out of things to say other than thank you. And I really appreciate your saying that, because yeah, it's hard sometimes. And the idea that I can offer emotional support to anybody else is kind of cool for me. So thank you. Mary, thank you very much. Comment covering dolphin tariff. Wow, dolphins, penguins. Oh, I'm wondering about that actually. Do you think that the penguins got out of their tariffs? I've been no, the penguins are still getting tariffed. Are they Chinese penguins? I don't understand. Anyway, thank you for the dolphin tariff. Jennifer, Canadian in the house, you rock. Thank you so much for that. Question: how would a dedicated watcher from the very beginning get a hold of you to share some ideas for your network re Canadian American connections? I don't know. How would one? I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking hard about how that might happen. And as soon as I get a signal, I'll let you know. Email. That's how. Wow, that was brilliant. Yeah, just email us. The email is which email though? There are so many. Sorry. This is riveting. Oh, there we go. It's info at Mary. I'm being laughed at. Can't imagine why. I'm handling this so smoothly and professionally. It's info at marytrumpmedia.com. And we can put that in the show notes as well. So yeah, just drop us an email. Darth. Hey, Darth. Thank you very much. Comment. Good news. My son with autism had 3 of his speech growth. That is fantastic news. Awesome. Congratulations. That is the best news I heard all day. So good for you. Good for him. I hope he's very, very proud of himself. Daniel, really? Comment, forgot to pay my on-time fee? Yeah. So what is it now? Is it a late fee? We are going to have so many fees. I think we're going to get reported to some agency. Anyway, thank you, Daniel. I really appreciate that. See, you guys make me laugh too. All right. I have some super stickers to thank. Cindy, thank you as always. Deborah, thank you very much. AJ. Wow. Thank you so much, AJ. Very generous of you. Leather and Western, thank you very much. That's great. Mariana, thank you as always for that. Dust Tracy, thank you as always. That's very kind of you. His Divine Scadu, thank you as always. Suzanne, thank you very, very much. Nancy, another super sticker. Thank you for that. That's great. Really appreciate it. Being Nancy, thank you very much. Comment. Here's $10. It might be worth more tomorrow. Yes, or considerably less. I'm not going to buy a T-bill with it. Thank you very much. Michelle, super sticker. Thank you very much. It's great. Melissa, another super sticker. Thank you very much. More super stickers coming up. Donna, awesome. Thank you so much. Natalie, thank you. That's fantastic. Comment. I want to go back to sane Earth. It's scary here on alternate Earth with crazy presidents. Also, Mary, you rock. I don't, but thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that you think so. Also, just a reminder, we are on sane Earth. We are the sane ones. We live in reality. They're the ones who are deluded. They're the ones who are trying to take this away from us. We're in the right place. They're in the wrong place. So we're not ceding any ground to them. So I understand that feeling. But no, we're where we should be. There is Earth 1. There is reality. There's not another reality. There's reality and their delusional fantasy land that is full of destruction and fear and horror and cruelty. That's where they live. We don't want any part of it. And we don't want them anywhere near us in our reality. I mean, in the actual reality is what I should say. Donna, thank you very much. That's fantastic. Super sticker, another super sticker. Paul, thank you very much. Okay, guys, that you're amazing. We very much appreciate you. Thanks to everybody watching on YouTube, to our intrepid handful of Twitter people watching us over there. Everybody live streaming from my Substack. Thank you very much, guys. And please, everybody here, go check out the Substack. It's called Good in Us, another like-minded community. And of course, everybody listening to the podcast, we really appreciate that. Again, to all of our super stickers, all of our people giving us gifts, it helps us so much. And my team works extraordinarily hard, and they're doing something every day to make this better, and your gifts help us do that. So thank you to our extremely capable moderators who do a job that's not easy, I promise you. So thank you. And of course, to my amazing team who had quite a day and just rolled with it and did the work under very, very, very difficult circumstances. So as always, thanks, guys. I so appreciate you. And that does it for us. We will be back tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern, for the Nerd Avengers. And then, of course, Mary Trump Live tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern. We have videos dropping all throughout the day. We dropped one a little earlier we did a very deep dive onto the stock manipulation and the tariff nightmare. Please check it out. I think you'll find it very interesting. I add a little family history in there to help, round out our understanding of what might be going on. And yeah, the videos are going to keep coming, and I hope you keep coming here as well, because this is why we do it. So thanks so much. I will see you tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern, with the Nerd Avengers. In the meantime, everybody, please stay safe and be kind.